All right, everybody. Thank you for joining the channel today. I have a couple items to review. We are going to go over the Starlink Mini, which is this guy right here. And then also, uh, there's a lot of people that have reviews on this, so I'm not going to go too far in depth with the Mini itself. We also do have the Peakdo battery for the Mini. This is the version 2, the upgraded version. Has a couple different things are different from the first version. And then I also got a Veritas Vans kit with the travel case. So we'll go through everything pretty quickly here. It's not too big of an issue, but ultimately it's going to be a fantastic little setup here. And again, we are here with SoCal Defense YouTube channel, where we go over anything defense. That might be personal defense, anything coming from the government as well. If power goes out, you got to defend yourself digitally as well. So this will be a quick review of all these three items and what comes in the actual case itself. So I will say this, that the accessories individually were more expensive than the actual Starlink Mini itself. Starlink Mini right now it's coming in about $199, and that's with at minimum a $5 a month inactive service fee. So there's a bunch of reviews going on with that, but we'll jump into it real quick. So Starlink Mini, pretty decent size. It's probably like a 13 or 14-inch laptop. A lot of people have seen these and a lot of reviews on YouTube. So if you really are interested in the Mini and what it has to offer, I would suggest going to one of the other channels and taking a look and seeing what they have. They run all the types of upload, download speeds, and all that good stuff. But ultimately, the Starlink Mini comes with a giant 50-foot cord, I believe it is, which is good camping wise if you're trying to take it out, push it out underneath some tree coverage or anything like that. But for my personal use, it is going on my vehicle. So it's not too much of an issue. Well, it is an issue to have that 50-foot long cord. And it goes to a wall plug, so that's also not as great. So we do want to try to get a system that works a little bit better. Now, looking into the Mini and its capabilities, I ran it in my vehicle. Works great at highway speeds, no issues there. But it's all about the power. How do you power this thing? Because there is no internal battery. So what I found and what seems to be a pretty good substitute to wired power for the Mini is going to be the Peakdo battery. It is an external battery unit that attaches to itself. So it is called the Peakdo LinkPower 2 power bank, and that is for the Starlink Mini. It does come with a car charger, the mount itself and whatnot. So it's pretty good. They have a couple different ports on it from the first one. First one is giving you about an 4-hour runtime, which it's great. And you can, charge it up, put it back on, and have no issues with it running. But I went just for my setup and how I want it in the car. I don't want to move it too much. So this will allows through pass-through charging. It also comes with a different cord. I don't have the cord with me at the current moment. It is in my vehicle, and that is off-site right now. So going into everything here, the Peakdo, obviously Starlink Mini, but the Peakdo battery itself, the front looks like that. And this would be the top that has the two little inlets on it. which will click into the Starlink Mini from below. So the two chrome metal, this is one of the updated versions of it. This is for heat distribution, so it doesn't get as warm as the first one that they had. It got a little warm, no real main issues with that, but ultimately there's a couple different things here. So obviously the power button is right there. It'll give you a readout 100%. And there's a lot more information when this thing is plugged in and turned on. So one little tap will give you just the current state, its battery charge, and all that good stuff. So if you hold it down for a couple seconds, then it turns on and supplies power. Another new feature would be this little grommet, not the grommet itself, but what's underneath it. So the original one just had a USB-C charging port, which is that lower one right there. Nothing bad about that, but if you want to get a faster charge or want to power the Mini directly through, you use the DC cable that comes with it, and then you can plug that in right there. Same one that you can plug in the wall that Starlink Mini 2 comes, or the Starlink Mini comes with. So that was a positive, but the way I run it, once it's mounted, because I have a glass ceiling on my vehicle, so it hangs with the battery facing down, which is very important because if I want to connect power to it real quick, I want to make sure I have an option to do that. And one of those options is this third charging area. So this comes with a magnetic charging, I guess it's a port, or a magnetic charging connection. So it is breakaway. So once that is on, it can be pulled off just very quickly. So this doesn't get yanked. The cord doesn't get yanked. You don't ruin any of your power supply areas. This is pretty much the reason why I bought it. Now, Veritas Vans, which we are going to go to in a minute, does offer the Peakdo power bank, but they only have version 1. So saying that, this made a lot more sense to me to purchase outside of Veritas Vans. But Veritas Vans does have a setup that allows the Peakdo inside their case. Now, I do go, outdoorsy kind of stuff. So if I do bring this out with me, I want to be able to power it obviously here, but I also want to protect it. So, but first things first, we will plug in the Peakdo battery. And it's simple. It comes with this cord, very short cord. Just kind of S-bend it. You want to place it in, and then you just push it all the way home. So once that's seated, you can take the Peakdo battery by both sides and just push, and it clicks right in. So no issues with that. It does have your screen, once it's on and attached, you have that visibility to see your percentage and all that good stuff. So very sleek. It is molded right into the frame of the Mini, so there's no issues with that. I just want to make sure that something's not going to fall out. Now, it doesn't go completely to the corners. The corners are rounded off here, so it doesn't go completely out to the side, so it gives you a little bit of wiggle room for other things. And speaking of other things, we will go to the Veritas Vans product. So I did kind of purchase the most expensive stuff, I guess, to see and protect all this linkage that I have from the Starlink Mini. I want to make sure it's protected. It is made out of some type of plastic, the Starlink Mini. So it can break. It can have some issues going with that. But ultimately, since, I am going to be outdoors, it's going to be used in multiple ways, in multiple scenarios. I opted to purchase the hard case that comes from Veritas Vans. Very good case. Has 4 latches on it. Super good latches, very sturdy, very hard. It does have, push that a little forward so you can see them. It does have 2 little holes here, just like any luggage. You can place a lock through those holes and you can secure it even further. Carrying handle is probably one of the best carrying handles that I've seen. Rubberized, very thick, very sturdy. And then it does have a pressure release valve there for, let's put that down. Pressure release valve right there, just in case you're going on an airplane or anything like that, changing altitudes, going up to the mountains, any of that good stuff. My apologies for knocking the camera. But ultimately, you just press up or pull up on the latches, and they don't really stay up. So it can be a little funky trying to get this open, but ultimately that is Veritas Vans case that is for the Starlinkmini. So right off the bat, I did get the one that is specific frame for the possibility of using the Peakdo battery. So the Peakdo battery version 1 and version 2 can be used with this attachment, and that attachment pretty much very easily comes off. It's like a puzzle piece in these corners, there and there, and you just kind of press them out with your thumb and they just pop out. Now it does come with each side, so if you want to put that one back on, you can. I also opted for the carrying handle, which is right here, and that just gives you a good sturdy thing to grab onto, hold it, carry it if you don't want to lug around this big case. So pretty much every single piece will come, and then you do have to attach the Peakdo battery attachment frame piece on your own. Very simple. Like I said, you press out. It becomes a little unstable once you have that piece out. Push the next one in. Perfect. And the same thing over there for the handle for the carrying case for Veritas Vans as well. Ultimately, the shell is CNC'd out of one piece. It is very sturdy, very good hardware all the way through. And then it does have more attachment points for the way you're going to mount it. It has 4 here, and this is how I use it. I use the suction cups because of my glass roof in my car, and I put the suction cups here, and we suction it face up towards the sky. So the Starlinkmini has a visual of that sky, so we can use that. Going on to the next item, I will bring out this and pretty much what it is. I do have the screws, or bolts I should say, in there, so I'm not going to turn it over right now. I'll place it in so you guys can see everything. But a couple more items that come with it. I do have a pack of magnets, but my vehicle's made out of aluminum. So very sturdy magnets, Veritas Vans company. I tested one of them. I pulled it out, tested it. You know, it's rubberized, very strong, very strong. I don't suggest trying it without attaching it to the actual case itself. That is actually going to be even harder to get off of any type of metal with it, with the tiny little bolt that it has on there. So I do have those. I just keep it separate because I don't really utilize them. Now, how I use it is with these heavy duty suction cups. So they are branded. They have veritasfans.com on it, Veritas Fans kind of logo as well. And those are the threaded pieces where you put it onto the white part or the bottom side of it. Just depends. Is it inside your vehicle? Is it outside of your vehicle? Mine is on the inside. So I use this on the top of the white part of the case. So I can have the Starlinkmini face up towards this guy and gets its signal. So it comes with 4 of them. Very good suction cups. I put some real strength and pressure trying to get this off my vehicle once I had them on, and I was unable to pull it off manually. Now, what you pretty much do is there's a white line here, and you just start pumping. Once you're on the glass, you give it a little firm push, start pumping, and then all of a sudden that white line starts to disappear, and it will sink down where you can't pump it anymore. Now, with all suction cups, you do want to check them periodically just to make sure that they still have suction, but you can do a visual inspection just by looking at that white line and making sure that that is still below the actual pressure, so none of your pressure escaped. Now, the case itself, very dense foam, multiple layers, probably about 5 or 6, and it's very nice. It's not an issue. I haven't found any issues yet. Very tight, snug fit. If you have the suction cups attached, it does fit, but it's very snug. So it's a little harder to get the latches down. I'm sure that kind of gets better over time as well. So no real problems with that. Maybe if you're a skinny individual, a weaker individual, then you might have some issues. But ultimately, these are the same size for the magnets. Magnets can go in there. And they also have a hole in the bottom of each cutout here on the sides. And that is for, as you saw me pull them out, that is directly for the suction cup, because it has those kind of bolts that come off so you can attach it to your case. Now, one thing online I did not see anywhere was they just put a laptop in here. They don't really tell you what size of a laptop it is. Oh, yeah. And then I also have a AirTag in there. You know what, Veritas fans, if you could make a case which seamlessly puts in one of the AirTags for tracking, that would be a pretty smart way to keep an eye on your product. And also up the price slightly, make you more money. Food for thought. But very good little area here. Let me see. Let me grab I'm using my iPad right now, but I do have the Magic Keyboard. 1 second. My apologies. Thank you for your patience. Misplaced my case here. So this area is about a width of a hand, maybe a little bit more, but I do have the Magic Keyboard. This is the one for the 11-inch iPad. So just for a little bit of reference, that's how big that area is. I can also just grab my standard size Bible and I'll put that in there just for a reference. It does not fit anything much bigger than that. I will grab my MacBook Pro right now. 1 second. Okay, so MacBook Pro 16-inch. Not at all. I wouldn't even close this case on it to be frank. So obviously you want to be smaller than a 16-inch MacBook Pro by a decent amount. So lines there and lines right about there. So you want to cut down, and cut down from all sides, just for physical reference there. So all in all, case is solid. It's a very good case. It does have a rubber seal here at the top. Well, rubber gasket helps prevent any of the dust, grime, water, or anything like that to get into your actual case. But I will say, quite expensive for all these items. It's going to be over the amount for your mini. It's your Starlink mini itself. So I'm just going to remove this real quick. And we will get into a pretty quick installation. Now, very fast, I guess. But the only thing that's going to be time consuming is going to be bolting all these down in the frame itself. So again, I do have the Peakdo LinkPower 2, and that only fits in this if you purchase. It's a purchase. You can't buy it complete. This is extra money, and so is the handle on the frame. So ultimately just slides right in, even a little click to it, which is very nice. And so Peakdo PowerLink 2, there we go, is on that side, and that would be the same side of that attachment, which allows you to keep it all together. Now, it's very snug. It's very portable, especially with that handle on there. It helps out a lot. I'm just going to get these kind of started, and then I'm just going to tighten it up real quick. But ultimately, my experience with it, the only gripe I have, I guess, is kind of not with the shipping, but the cleanliness. However they CNC this black frame out is actually not, I mean, it's fine. It works. But the issue I have was you have a lot, and I mean a lot, of black shavings all throughout your package. It's not the cleanest setup or the cleanest distribution, but to each their own. And you can't really complain about shipping. They're a USA made company. They do everything for the United States. Supporting them was something that I like to do. So if I can find companies that will allow me to purchase within the United States, I definitely choose them over anybody else. Now, I would have gone with them with the Peakdo battery, but they did not offer the version 2, which I really needed or wanted, I guess, just because of my setup in the vehicle. So, a very quick process just to get this done completely. I'm going to snug them up real quick. And it does come with an Allen key, of course, but much easier to get everything kind of seated and 95% there. And then you tighten by hand, oh, 5% more. Okay, almost done here. Okay, and that's it there. So handle makes it much more easier to move around, grab, walk with it. Now, the only issue I have is here, I'll get a different angle for you so you can see it better. The replacement part, for these, if you want the handle or the Peakdo battery attachment, they're not as seamless as the original frame of it. So you can see here, there is a gap in there. Everything's pressed down, everything's firm. You can see also there another gap. So it's not the best, but it's not the worst, because this side on camera it kind of looks like there's a gap, but there's really no gap on that side. But ultimately a very good setup, very sturdy, easy to move, easy to handle. The only thing I would have liked, if for like the Peakdo people, if your battery had a little bit more of attachment, right? So you can have a flip up, so you can actually put it on the ground and just flip it up and utilize it. Now, the Peakdo battery does come with a mounting point here. And the mounting point is just for like a tripod attachment. So you can purchase a whole nother tripod just to put this on the ground, which is fine, but spending this much amount of money, this was easily double the price of the actual double the price of the Starlinkmini itself. So, you know, these things, even especially if your hobbies and whatnot, call for this, and for safety, if you're out hiking, this significantly makes it way more. But it's easy to carry, easy to strap on. You could put on a couple bigger carabiners on the handle, put it on the outside of your pack, anything like that. But ultimately, this is going to be for camping, hiking, and road trips when you're driving through those areas that are blacked out for service. But yeah, it's a good setup. I'm not disappointed. So you can see your Peakdo battery is still able to be accessed here. So you can still click the button, get your battery read, turn it on, turn it off. You still have access to your ports, turn it on, turn it off. But again, how I have it, it's really for the car. So in the car, the 4 points on the white side are going to be what we attach the suction cups to, because it needs to be faced up. And you're going to have to play with this a little bit to see where aesthetically you want this. I want all these pumps to be faced in, not sticking out, not looking like some random teeth. So pretty much you just kind of spin it till it's tight. You might want to take it back off, start at another position, and then rotate them into where they're nice and snug. But suction cupped up to the ceiling of my car is the best option for me. And then if we do that, that does obviously still give me access to my ports, but the quick disconnect magnetic charging cable that comes with the Peakdo battery V2 is much easier to access, much easier to plug in. So it is a smarter idea what they did with this. This is going to make it much easier to access, pull on, throw on power supply for the for the Starlink, for the Peak2 battery, and all that. So shout out to Veritas fans for creating something that we could use with that battery. Very unique. Not many people have it. Even the mount that is from the Peakdo battery people, flimsy, bad suction cups. It doesn't look like it would do it justice. So, and I wanted something that we could protect the Mini, because it is plastic. It is made out of not the greatest material. So we want to make sure that this is protected, and you don't want to damage it. You know, it is electronics inside. But supposedly the Veritas, rain, hail, sleet, snow, no issues with it whatsoever. And the wires that come with the Peak2 battery is just like the weatherproof cords that you get from Starlink, Stargear, any of those stuff. So that is pretty much it. Again, we'll show it from this side, that you still do have a little closer access to your rubber grommet, completely open, and then your battery, you can turn it on, turn it off. So that is how I run my Starlinkmini. If you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, or anything like that, feel free, reach out, put it in the comments, reach out to the channel. We are a newer channel here. Pretty much our first couple videos that we're doing here at SoCal Defense. You can find us also on Instagram, also a new IG there. So we are little by little getting this content out to you guys. So if you have any suggestions, comments, concerns, please reach out, share, like, subscribe if you feel fit. But you guys have a blessed day. Thanks.